everyone, it's Lara. So today I'm going to show you my inventory. For primers, last year I had 4 and this year I have 4. I have the Milani Prime Perfection, this Majolica Majorca Nude Maker Gel, Vizzy, and this one from the 100 yen store, AC Makeup Tokyo. I think technically this is supposed to be a concealer, but I use it as a primer, so that's what I'm counting it as. The only one that's the same as last year is this Milani one. And I don't really care for any of these. If I had to pick a favorite out of the ones that I have, it would maybe be this one, just because it is SPF 50, which I guess is good. For concealers, last year I had 4. This year I have 5. So I have the Milani Conceal and Perfect, the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Hydrate, Wet n Wild Photo Focus, Mio Piccolo, and one from Vizzy. The only one that's the same from last year is this Milani one. And out of the ones I own, I think my favorite would be this Makeup Revolution Conceal and Hydrate one, surprisingly. I really did not like the Conceal and Define, I think it was called, one. But surprisingly, I really like the Conceal and Hydrate one. For foundations, last year I had 5. This year I have 8. So I have this Milky Skin Remaker from Majolica Majorca, this Cushion Foundation from La Boyotte. I have one from Vizzy, Milani, Makeup Revolution CC, Perfecting Foundation, AC Makeup Tokyo, Wet n Wild, and another one from AC Makeup Tokyo. The only one that's the same from last year is the Milani. And if I had to pick a favorite from the ones I have, I guess I would pick the Wet n Wild Stick Foundation. I like that one. For face powders, last year I had 9 and this year I have 13. I didn't finish any face powders last year, so all of them are the same except for these 4 here. Technically this is a bronzer, but it's so light that I use it as a face powder. So I have this Pretty Vulgar one, ColourPop No Filter, Milani, this brand I can't pronounce. That's what it's called. I have one from Kate Tokyo, Majolica Majorca, La Boyotte, Makeup Revolution, Bare Minerals, Vizzy, Crayon Touch Me, Too Faced, another Too Faced. So I have 6 pressed powders and 7 loose powders. Out of the ones I own, I think my favorite would have to be this Vizzy one. For setting spray, last year I had 4, this year I have 7. The 2 that are the same from last year are this Milani one and this Pretty Vulgar one. So now I have this Rosewater Spray from Heritage Store, Milani Make It Dewy, 4 from Maru Badescu, and this Pretty Vulgar one. I would say my favorite out of the ones I have is this Rosewater one because it's the only one that doesn't have perfume in it. For bronzers, last year I had 11 and this year I have 7. So I have this Too Faced Chestnut Roasting one, a Too Faced Chocolate Soleil, a Too Faced Sun Bunny, Too Faced Chocolate Soleil, Too Faced Chocolate Soleil, Too Faced Chocolate Soleil, and then this Bare Minerals one. So all of these are the same from last year. I don't really care for any of these bronzers. Too Faced Chocolate Soleil is too dark for me. I don't really like the tone of Sun Bunny. I haven't tried the Chestnuts Roasting, but it looks really warm. And I also haven't tried the Bare Minerals one yet. I'm just really not into bronzer, so I couldn't pick a favorite. For highlighter, last year I had 8, this year I have 5. So I have the Too Faced Snow Extra, Too Faced #blessed, Too Faced Flush, Too Faced Inner Light, Too Faced Inner Light. These are all the same from last year. Not really into highlight either, so couldn't really pick a favorite. For blush, last year I had 28 and this year I have 28. So I have Too Faced Chocolate Covered Strawberry, Too Faced Raindrops on Roses, Too Faced Melt into Spring, Too Faced Sweet on Santa, Too Faced Winterberry, Too Faced Will You Marry Me, Too Faced Stardust, Too Faced Skyline, Too Faced Papa Don't Peach, Too Faced Sweet Pink. I have an Inmit Makeup one, a Milani Flower one, Pretty Vulgar, Makeup Revolution, Too Faced Heart Blush, 2 Milani Baked Blushes, Kate Tokyo 3D Cheeks, this one from that brand I can never pronounce. I have a Tarte one, this Glossy Box and Krylon one, ColourPop Super Shock, Mio Piccolo, 2 from Majolica Majorca, Universal Beauty, Jelly Pong Pong, and Vizzy. I would say my favorites would have to be the Milani Baked Blushes. I also really like this Too Faced one. These ones from Majolica Majorca. I really love this one too. Yeah, I like blush. So all of these are the same from last year. The only ones that are new are this Vizzy one and this Mio Piccolo one. For brow products, last year I had 4 and this year I have 2. Both of these are the same from last year, so I have the Pretty Vulgar one and one from Milani. I'd say I probably like the Pretty Vulgar one a bit better than the Milani one. It's a bit drier. The Milani one is really creamy, like really creamy. But I don't really care for either. My all-time favorite brow product is the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. I just much prefer pomades over pencils. For eyeliners, last year I had 7 and this year I have 7. So I have 3 liquid liners and 4 pencil liners. So I have one from Majolica Majorca, Vizzy, this brand from the 100 Yen store. I have 2 from Crayon Touch Me, Pacifica, and Cynthia Rowley. The only 2 the same from last year are the Pacifica and the Cynthia Rowley. Yeah, I really like all 3 of these liquid liners. For mascara, last year I had 3, this year I have 2. Neither of these are the same from last year, so I have one from Maybelline and one from Vizzy. I prefer the Maybelline over the Vizzy one. For eye primers, last year I had 5, this year I have 2. These are both the same from last year. I have the Milani and a Too Faced one, and I prefer the Too Faced one. For loose shadows and glitters, last year I had 3 and this year I have 3. These are the same 3 I had last year. I have one from Mars, Bella Pierre, and this Witch's Pouch one. I have never used either of these 2, so I have no idea what I think of them because I've never used them and I've had them forever. And yeah, I like the Witch's Pouch one. It's alright. For cream shadows, last year I had 1, this year I have 1, and it's the same one I've had. This Avon one in the color Sunkissed. I'm really hoping this is the year I can get this used up so then I don't have any more cream shadows left. For single shadows, last year I had 15 and this year I have 17. So I know that some people consider the Super Shock shadows to be cream shadows, but last year in my inventory I counted them in this category, so I'm just gonna keep them in this category. So I have 8 Super Shock shadows. I have one from Manic Hadar, this Glossy Box one, 2 from Misha, this random brown shade. I have no idea what brand it is. I got it in a subscription box years ago, and I've never even used it either. I have one from Total Intensity, Jessie's Girl, Makeup Forever, and Carez. So these are all the same from last year. The only 2 new ones are the 2 Misha ones. I do really enjoy the Super Shock shades. I think my favorite is this sparkly, like, rosy pinky rose gold one in Birthday Cake. I really like that. But like everybody else says, they do dry up pretty quick. I never even got a chance to use this one. And I only got it like a little over a year ago. And yeah, it's already dried out. So yeah, that's that. I really like this purple shade from this Glossy Box. That one's nice. I really like that Manic Carter one. For duos and trios, last year I had 4 and this year I have 2. So the Clinique one is from last year, it's a duo, and this trio from La Beate is new. For small eyeshadow palettes, last year I had 14 and this year I have 16. So I count small eyeshadow palettes as palettes that have anywhere between 4 and 11 eyeshadows. So I have the Visart Petite Pro 1, Petite Pro 2, this Petite Pro 5 Soleil. I have 2 of the Theory palettes. I have Siren and I think one's called Chroma. Siren. I think this one's called Chroma. I have a quad from Vizzy, a quad from Majolica Majorica, quad from Kate Tokyo. I have a bunch of Too Faced small palettes, the Sugar Cookie, Tickled Peach, Shake Your Pom Poms, Hot Buttered Rum, Chocolate Chip, White Chocolate Chip, the Sparkling Pineapple, and Razzle Raspberry, I think those are called. So those are my small palettes. Out of all my small palettes, I would say probably the Chocolate Chip and the Sugar Cookie are my favorites. I just feel like the Chocolate Chip, it's all matte, so it's like super versatile, so I can bring in some single shadows to use with that, so I really like that. And I like this one because it has a really cool pink shade in it. And these are all the same from last year except for the quad from Majolica Majorca and the quad from Vizzy. For big palettes, last year I had 31 and this year I have 30. So I have a bunch of Too Faced holiday palettes. I have Best Year Ever, Dream Queen, I have the Christmas in New York, Christmas in Paris, Everything Nice, and the one I'm penning this year, A Few of My Favorite Things. I have a bunch of Urban Decay Vice palettes. I have the XX Reloaded, the Limited, the Vice 4, the Vice 3, the Vice 2. I have the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette, and then I have 4 palettes from Pretty Vulgar, the Nightingale, Early Bird, Phoenix Rising, and the Pretty Birdie. I have a bunch of palettes from Too Faced in these tins. So I have the Too Faced Gingerbread Extra Spicy, Gingerbread, Semi-Sweet, Chocolate Bar, Sweet Peach, Clover, Bonbons, and the White Chocolate Bar. I also have the Gold Chocolate. I have the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. I have this Milani Pure Passions palette, Too Faced Natural Love, Too Faced Natural Lust, and the Makeup Revolution Emily Edit The Wands palette. So all of these are the same from last year, except for this Milani Pure Passion palette. So big palettes I count as anything that has more than 12 eyeshadows. And some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes in this category are the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons. I really like the Too Faced Natural Love palette as well.